right, let's go back out to the fire scene in Central
5:23 a.m. this
City.
morning. The companies arrived at 5:27. They struck a second and a third alarm at 5:31, and we struck an additional fourth alarm at 5:47. So what we can sort out so far, again, the addresses we're not too sure about because all of the buildings aren't properly marked, but it looks like the fire started in the rear of 1333 South Saratoga. That was an occupied building. That's the building here on the corner. Behind it is another dwelling that we're not sure if it's 2100 block, let's call it, of Thalia. And it was only several feet away from the main fire building. So what we can determine is the fire started somewhere in the rear of that 1333 South Saratoga or in the small house next to it, spread very rapidly. The residents were able to get out. We know that there were 2 residents in each building, but the firefighters on the scene said that they think that at least 6 people got out, so there may have been some people in the rear of one of the buildings that they didn't know about, but it looks like everyone got out. Additionally, the embers, the fire was so heavy, the embers spread across the street and caught 2124 Thalia on fire. There were 5 residents in that building. It doesn't look too heavily damaged. It looks like there was some fire in the attic and the eaves, so we're still determining, but that fire's out. All the residents got out safely. So the good news is, it appears everyone got out, but we will keep searching just to make sure that
You feel like you have it contained to this corner?
Yes, we do have it contained to this corner right now. Like we said, the fire was just so big and so heavy earlier. There were large embers spreading the fire around. We've got all that controlled. As you can see right now, the main fire building is pretty much collapsed, and the addition to it that was in the rear collapsed. So right now it's just kind of surrounded ground.
What's the problem?
The tactic with these guys up here trying to fight the fire from the roof of a nearby building?
So the fire had vented itself, which basically means it burned through the roof. So they're up on the roof just trying to get a better angle for their hand lines to be able to put that fire out.
Do you plan to turn off the gas as well? Is there an issue with that at this point?
Yes. No, we shut off the gas in the area. We have energy gas and energy electric out here cutting out any affected lines.
Is there anything that's kind of giving you trouble here as you're fighting this fire, trying to get up inside?
Yeah, it's just whenever a building collapses, so the fire is burning underneath, so it just takes time. It's really, like I said, just drowning the fire, put massive amounts of water until we can get it down enough, and then they'll have to go back in there by hand and peel back the layers and just make sure it's out all the way down underneath.
Is it contained to mostly the top of this building now?
It's really all inside of this building on the corner. There's heavy fire all in there. On the other side, you can't see it from this side, but that side actually collapsed. The rear had already collapsed, and the rear of the building that it backs up to had already collapsed. So there's a lot of trapped fire down in there, and that's why you've been seeing some smoke for a while this morning.
Did anyone at all have to go to the hospital? Everybody, you said, was able to go home?
All of the residents have gotten out. We talked to the residents in each of the buildings. They said that all of their neighbors and the people that live there with them are out. So we're just making sure there weren't any vagrants or anything in the rear of the structures. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, you guys, that is the latest. We are just now hearing that this actually had spread to, it sounds like 3 buildings. It started in another building and back of the one you guys are looking at now on Saratoga. Again, one side of this current building is where the building had collapsed on the side there. Most of the problem it sounds like they're running to now is the little pops of fire that are mostly at the top of this building here and in the roof. And it looks like they're going to be working on this for quite some time. Again, the good news is all the residents who were in these buildings have been able to get out safely. It sounds like they may be looking for 1 or 2 individuals. And of course, as we learn more, we will continue to bring you guys more. But again, the good news is that no one is seriously injured.
All right, Candace, thank you very much. And considering how big the flames were when we showed that in our 6 o'clock hour,
right?
It's miraculous it didn't spread to more buildings, and the fire department must have gotten out there pretty fast to save those. Although it did spread to at least 1 or 2 more buildings.
Yeah, that was NOFD Chief Roman Nelson giving us an update there. And as Candace said, started in that building, that corner building, which is 1333 South Saratoga. There's a building right behind it, which he said was only about 7 feet away on Thalia Street.
Well,
so
and all those houses in that area are really
very close, as you can see there. So they can't tell if the fire started in that building we've been focusing on the corner of South Saratoga, where firefighters are still working on, or in that building in Thalia, right behind it. But he did say that firefighters said at least 6 people got out safely, and they are still making sure that no one is inside.
And from what we see, considering again how big those flames were earlier, this side of the building, they've been working on that. The other side of the building, they said collapsed already.
Right.
But it's amazing that much of the building is still standing.
Sure.
We'll be following this all morning long, and be back with Candace in a little while.